from Chengdu, China. We are here at the World Cyber Games 2009, and it has been pretty awesome so far. I am Tasteless, and with me is none other than Artosis. What is up, man?
Dude, this right here is the match that I have been waiting for since I saw these little cards given to us.
Right.
It is IdrA against WhiteRaw, two of the top 4 non-Korean players in the entire world for certain. They keep meeting everywhere, man. He just defeated WhiteRaw 2-1 at IEF a couple weeks ago. Really the closest match ever. Third game came down to the wire, and here we are again, and this match is important. IdrA has already made it through, but WhiteRaw has to win.
Yeah, these guys are big rivals, big international rivals here. As you can see on the screen here, WhiteRaw and IdrA. And yeah, these guys have been facing each other for what feels like years now. WhiteRaw, in my own opinion, easily the best European Protoss.
Yeah, I think that no one would argue at that point. You know, he knocked IdrA out of the first TSL, and then IdrA knocked him out of ESWC and IEF. Here WhiteRaw is, if he doesn't defeat IdrA, WhiteRaw finishes 3rd in groups, and IdrA and Advocate move on. If WhiteRaw can beat IdrA, then it's WhiteRaw and IdrA that move on.
So a lot of pressure on WhiteRaw, but you know what? I don't think there's any guy out there that handles pressure better than WhiteRaw. He never seems to be nervous before these matches. He always approaches it with confidence. He's actually one of the older pro gamers on the team, or I should say pro gamers that we have down here in general. And here's a shot of him now. This is one of the few guys that I consistently study outside of Korea to watch his play.
Man. I study his manner, I study his play, I study how cool this guy is. He is a legend in the StarCraft community. He just destroyed Boxer on television in Korea. Here he is on television again for WCG. This guy is a complete monster and the most nice-mannered player I have ever met.
Yeah, I've never seen him be rude to a single player. Does no trash talk. You know, he's very interested in how does this game work and how can I help it improve my play. He doesn't really seem to have a nemesis out there, although he does constantly face this guy right here, IdrA. He is currently living in Korea, staying at the CJ Pro Team house.
Yep. This is IdrA, man. This is our nerd.
This is our nerd.
I have papers on this nerd, okay? He's registered to me. He has his shots. This guy is awesome. He has been winning everything whatsoever. People keep on giving him junk because he is bad mannered. He's the opposite of WhiteRaw. Maybe the worst manner player in the scene.
He loves to talk trash.
Yeah, but I tell you what, he has the skills to back it up. He is just slaying people left and right.
You know, he's actually, as you were saying earlier, former teammate of both you and me. Yeah. We were all teammates together. But we've grown up to be casters, and he's grown up to live in Korea and be a full-time pro gamer. So, you know, there's a lot of pressure on players like this because, you know, since you are playing with Koreans, there's kind of this expectation that now you should be as good as the Koreans. We hold you to a higher standard within the StarCraft scene. You know, StarCraft, easily the most competitive esport of all time. It's really held at the highest standards out here. Let's take a look, though, real fast at our map. And it is going to be Taucross.
Oh, this map is great for this matchup. Taucross is an excellent TVP map, an excellent PvT map as well. Pretty well balanced overall. It can be really hard late game because both players are macroing insanely. Arbiters become extremely powerful, but at the same time, Terrence had access to 3 gas for just about the whole game, so he's going to have sick upgrades and vessels. Should be a perfect map for this matchup.
Absolutely, and you know what? Another thing to keep in mind is if we do end up going into the late game, counterattacking very strong on this map. You've got to utilize those bridges. Now, both these guys have pretty solid macro. I think IdrA might have the edge when it comes to being able to outproduce his opponent, being able to have good macro management. But when I think it comes to strategy, WhiteRaw is the man. All right, stay tuned. We're going to get this started in just a little bit. Okay, the sand is running out of the hourglass. Pretty soon, our on-game net observer is going to hit the OK button to start this game. and we will get this going. I am pumped.
I am so pumped, man. White Raw is going to pull out his absolute best play. But, IdrA has just had his numbers so much in the past year. I don't know. Can White Raw do it? Absolutely. Will he do it? We'll see in a minute.
White Raw is one of the few non-Koreans out there that I think can train all day.
Yeah.
6 to 7 days a week tirelessly. He just has such great mental stamina. This is just going to be exciting.
Indeed, and he has been practicing a lot lately after he came up to Seoul. Practiced in a PC bong with Rhett and Dimaga for a few days, 14 hours a day. Just really, really training for this event.
Okay, let's get this on. White Raw against IdrA. Protoss versus Terran. Ukraine against the United States.
Epic matchup. I got to tell you, I'm so excited about this. I am actually getting goosebumps as I sit here. This is going to be the greatest match we've seen on stage yet, in my opinion.
I think we call them geek chills. I got geek chills just running down my spine right now.
Up and down, left and right.
Ooh, I'm getting all wiggly. Are you wiggling?
Oh, man, I'm jiggling and
wiggling. I'm wiggling all around. I'm just so excited.
Okay,
here's IdrA over here.
Face of a serious nerd.
That is the face of a killer nerd. Up here at the top right, we have IdrA.
That's right.
Terran player.
Brown.
Best Terran outside of Korea.
No doubt about it.
I should say non-Korean Terran, since he does live in Korea now.
That's a very good point. But yeah, certainly the best Terran that we have. And in fact, this match will decide how many Terrans we see in the top 8 because, already all the other groups have been decided. And IdrA, and either just IdrA or IdrA and Advocate will be the only Terrans in the entire top 8.
Okay, well, there's a lot of people packing up in the stands here. And by the way, this event has had just an innumerable amount of people.
Yeah, a sick amount of people in China love these esports. And I tell you, they have actually, and there we see Advocate on the left there of the sign holder, and he is intently watching because he really needs IdrA to win this. If IdrA doesn't win, Advocate's out, man, and he played really good. Lost the last game, a cheesy game to Yeba, which, really put him in this hard position where he has, his fate is up to someone else.
Yeah. And of course, here's a shot of us.
Yeah. Pretty handsome there.
Yeah, look at these shirts. Some of these shirts are great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think getting back to the point here, I'm really curious about what builds are going to be used here.
Yeah. White Raw, he was mentioning to me earlier that the build that Stork used against, I believe it was Brad OK yesterday.
Yep.
Just the 10-15 into a shuttle and, elevatoring in the Dragoons. That's a build that he really likes on this map.
Okay.
But, with that so fresh in IdrA's mind, I really doubt that he's going to do something like that.
Okay.
We're going to see him switch it up. He's a very smart player, has a lot of builder rooms under his sleeve, so I don't know exactly what we're going to see from him here.
One build that's quite strong on this map is a 10-15 gateway rush. And what that means is that you're going to get Dragoons so fast, you're going to cut probes, you're going to get early range, and you're going to try to break the Terran early on. It does not look like we're going to see that build up in this case. We don't see the second gateway up yet.
It's quite smart of him. And IdrA was actually going over his game plans with me before, and I will let them out now because White Raw does not have a cell phone on him for people to call and tell. Basically, if he goes one gateway, IdrA's going to FD. If he goes 10-15, IdrA's going to siege expand.
Okay.
So it looks like IdrA's probably going to end up going for an FD Terran that's fake double factory.
Yep.
And you just get, some Marines, a tank, and mines, and it's really, really safe. It gets your expansion quite quick, and sometimes scares the Protoss a little bit.
Okay, first Marine is out, and he is going to drive out this probe. White Raw not going to run around in there. I don't even think did he actually get to check and see how many SCVs were on the gas?
No, he ran right out of there. I don't think he has any info there.
I don't know if that was a good idea.
Still 3 SCVs on the gas.
Maybe we're going to see a 2 factory.
Yeah, I guess that's a possibility, although it felt like that was not his plan when he was talking to me. But he's going to scout 2 gateways. It's not a 10-15 for sure. We see a big lineup there. Enzo on the right.
All those guys, StarCraft players down here.
Yep.
Everybody's been talking about this match today.
Yeah.
Because between White Raw, IdrA, and Advocate, these are all heavyweights as far as non-Koreans go.
Absolutely. Such an important match for White Raw here. He really wants to hit that top 8. It's such an accomplishment.
Okay, and we're going to see 2 gateways here. So no fast expansion. Do we see the second factory? No. Not yet. Maybe he is going to go for some type of expansion build. He's going to hide something out here. Let's find out.
He is IdrA, man. He might be looking for a little bit of proxy tech, just making sure, it's worth it sometimes, just for the peace of mind to send that extra SCV out. You don't want to have to overbuild your turrets and stuff like that.
Okay, we do still see IdrA continuing to scout around. Dragoon range is on the way. And nobody looks like they've made a expansion building yet. Nexus Command Center.
Yeah.
So I think they're both playing a little bit cautiously here. These guys have a lot of respect for each other.
Absolutely. IdrA has shown that his macro, it is better than WhiteRaw, so he is definitely going to want to go into the late game. But at the same time, WhiteRaw knows that recalls are great against IdrA, so therefore he's going to want to hit late game. So I wouldn't be surprised if these two are very timid in this early game.
Now here's IdrA scouting SCV, going to try to slip in here and get some info. He does, he didn't see any Nexus there, so he has that much. He might have seen that probe though next to those Dragoons, in which case he's going to be suspicious and say, if you got a probe out there, you're probably going to make a Nexus, which WhiteRaw just did.
And the command center starting at just about the same time. He's got siege mode done, so he is completely safe. WhiteRaw is completely safe, and IdrA making the engineering bay because he just doesn't have enough information not to. Oh, WhiteRaw with a second Nexus.
Oh, wow.
A good play right there.
I like that move there by WhiteRaw. WhiteRaw, at this point in time, going to go for the double Expo. Now, this is pretty standard response to fast expanding Terrans. Is you say, all right, you're going to expand once, well, then I'll expand twice. Because just like Zerg against Protoss, it's the same thing with the Protoss against the Terran. The Protoss wants to be ahead in expansions against that Terran, just like the Zerg want to be ahead of expansions against the Terran.
Yeah, and it's especially good here because he went siege expand. If he had gone FD Terran, he'd be a lot more mobile with his forces, might be able to put some pressure on, but when it's siege mode, that is such an expensive, gas-heavy upgrade that really you're not going to be able to push and do any damage too early against this type of build from WhiteRaw. So IdrA's going to have to play a kind of passive game. When he finds out what WhiteRaw did, I think he's just going to have to make another command center and go with upgrades.
Yeah, we want to look and see where is that armory. Is he going to get an armory? If he does get that, it means he's going to upgrade and definitely take the third base. But again, you got to be careful. WhiteRaw also known for breaking a lot of 3-base Terrans by cutting probes. He's not one of these guys that makes probes continuously. He likes to cut so he can get a lot of units early on. And there's the armory.
Yeah, and that's very true what you were saying. I would not be surprised if he tries some weird 3-base bust. A lot of speed solids mixed in, just try to crush IdrA as he spreads his tanks out to take that third base. And right now it looks like he's just going to macro off 3 gates. Pretty safe play right there. Teching up, getting his observer, figuring out exactly what IdrA's up to before he really commits to anything.
I gotta say, I like IdrA's placement of that armory. That is not easy for an observer to spot at the very top right side of his base. And if WhiteRaw does not see that observer, WhiteRaw may assume that there's going to be a factory timing push here, or another hidden expansion elsewhere on the map.
That's quite true. And another thing that a lot of people don't think about is that late game, there are a lot of recalls on this map. And with that in the corner, surrounded by depots, it's going to be a lot harder for WhiteRaw to slow down his upgrade timings by attacking that armory because it's just so out of the way.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. By the way, thank you to Quad V. We are here because of Quad V.
Set up the casting here for all you guys. And of course, thanks to NeoTV.ca and OnGameNet, our broadcasting partners here. Make sure you check out QuadV.com, though. We have a lot of other streams going on there. No StarCraft quite yet. I think we might have some on tomorrow or the next day.
Yeah, I hope so. Okay, observer coming here. Whoa! Almost getting in range of that turret. He's going to have to sneak around, but it does look like, turret wall over here. That observer having no luck. And scanners on the way.
Indeed, and WhiteRaw, showing some of his slowness there. 3 probes, no blinking Nexus, but that's all right because he's got a lot of Dragoons, and that makes up for it. And IdrA, this is a good move.
Very nice.
Siege expand into some speed vultures. That's pretty standard play. You get those speed vultures out, and they're really going to help him to scout. He doesn't want to use up his scanners only on that, just in case something weird like a DT drop happens, in case there's quick arbiters, something like that. So the speed vultures, not only does he get to scout, but maybe pick off a few probes here and there, make him cancel a Nexus that he's putting far away, something like that.
Okay, so right now, IdrA peeks down here, no Expo there. He is probably assuming that his opponent does have the third Nexus. although he's had it pretty soon here. Although, yeah, look at that. White spots it and drives those vultures away.
And IdrA, he has started that third command center, so he's going to go ahead and play the macro game. That's IdrA for you, man. That's how he plays this game. He's been mixing up more lately, but this is what he's comfortable with, and, well, that's what he's doing. But WhiteRaw, it looks like he's getting a lot of gateways right now. Not any other tech going on. You know, we don't see a Temple Archives, we don't see a second gas, and what that means is he is going to go for this 3-base bust.
Yeah, he's going to get a lot of zealots, maybe 2 to 3 waves of zealots out of all those gateways, and try to run over IdrA.
Yeah, he just has to wait for IdrA to come out, and as IdrA is vulnerable, trying to set up mines, trying to set up the siege tanks, he's a little bit more spread out. But IdrA is doing some good scouting. He sees the speed zealots, he sees a lot of Dragoons outside, and you know what is the counter to this, Terran? Well, add factories and just make units until WhiteRaw wants to start expanding and teching again.
Yeah, you gotta just play it safe and don't go outside your base. Now, of course, IdrA's been playing with the best of the best. These Korean pro gamers on TV helping him a lot. And he's actually been helping them a lot. And hold that thought though. We got some vultures going to try to slip in here. Now, WhiteRaw's cut a lot of probes to do this, so losing any probes can really hurt.
That's right, and you know, he already took some shields off those zealots as well, making him lose some mining time. And now IdrA's going to notice, oh wow, look at this. No arbors being made, no Templar Archives. What are you doing, WhiteRaw? Oh, I see. You're going to try to bust me. So, you know, if IdrA can keep his clear head about him, really think about the basics of StarCraft, he should just sit in his base, you know, go up to 8 factories, get like 160 to 170 supply, and then move out.
Yeah, even if he's made the additional command center, just sit in your base and pump out SCVs.
Yeah, just overproduce SCVs. You can really get your 3rd, then 4th bases going really quickly after you do finally come out.
It does look like WhiteRaw is backing up.
Here we go.
It looks like, actually, IdrA moved out a little bit. I think he went for the bait. This is a mistake. This is a blunder here by IdrA.
You know, it looks like WhiteRaw overcommitting there. IdRA's still back a little bit, but a lot of speed zealots getting. We've got to see what those zealots are doing. And IdrA has enough tanks to hold this off for now.
And it does look like, in fact, he did drive IdrA back into his tank. He lost about half, back into his base. He lost about half of his tanks. And you know, tanks are the most pivotal unit in you know, Terran versus Protoss. You take out their tanks, they're going to be really behind.
So completely true.
And he did, oh, by the way, also move back to the command center.
Save the CC, that is important, but IdRA's got to be careful here, man. He can't lose more siege tanks. Terran is all about keeping those things alive. They become exponentially more powerful. Everyone you lose early game is going to hurt you late game. And for some reason, he's still moving out. A lot of speed zealots coming down. He's going to get busted again if he moves out anymore. This is really bad play here. You should wait for some rounds of vultures. And here WhiteRaw goes, running right through the mine.
Nice micro there by WhiteRaw. Does save a lot of those zealots from that initial mine. He is going to try to push in here. More tanks biting the dust.
And WhiteRaw he's pummeling these tanks, man. And, you know, WhiteRaw is in a good position, I have to say.
You know, I got to point out here just how low their supply count is, because these guys are killing each other off so hard here. 83 supply to 65. Now, ideally, Protoss that wants to be 20 food ahead of the Terran at any point in time. So in this case, it's a pretty even exchange as far as units go. But again, IdrA made this extra command center. You can't really use it. It's floating around. And yeah, I mean, this is WhiteRaw has a little bit of an edge.
You know, I don't know why IdrA keeps moving out here. He's got to be careful about it. He should just replenish his vultures, replenish his tanks, and really come out and super turtle, because WhiteRaw is a little bit all in. Even looking at the mini-map, you can look at his natural and his main base. Very low probe saturation on both. So, you know, his economy is not there. If IdrA just crushes his army one time, instead of getting his own army crushed, IdRA's going to get an easy win.
Now, this move here by WhiteRaw can act as a double-edged sword, just slamming all your units into them to try to drive them back in through their base, because eventually Protoss has to take an additional expansion. It looks like IdrA has now landed that command center. I do believe WhiteRaw might go for one more big attack here, and that will be the moment where we see who really has the advantage here.
Yeah, that's right. We see that IdrA, though, he's now catching up in supply rapidly. WhiteRaw may be at 120, but IdRA's at about 95. And, well, that's starting to look good for IdrA. You know, he's moving his vultures out. Not sure if he wants to do that quite yet, but there's not a lot of zealots in that group, as you can see. Mostly Dragoons, so the tanks will deal with those just fine. But, you know, it's a little bit dangerous. What if he did have those extra zealots? He'd really need those vultures back at the siege tanks.
At this point in time, I think WhiteRaw's going to have to turn around It's going to be hard for WhiteRa to get that 4th base. There's no really easy place to expand to on this map in this position as Protoss against Terran.
Yeah, and you know, if you look at the mini-map, IdrA has mines at basically every single base. And look at this catching from Zealot. That is not good for WhiteRa. He cannot be affording to lose these units. And wow, IdrA is really beginning to take control of this game. WhiteRa is going to have about 1 more attack left in him because IdrA is just going to macro up huge at this point.
Okay, here comes IdrA now. He's going for the probes. This is the damage he had to do. Killing off many probes. And remember, WhiteRa cut probes earlier on so he'd have a stronger attack. So losing these workers now can really hurt.
Yeah, look at that. So few probes on the main, as you can see right there. He is double upgrading, which is kind of weird. I wasn't expecting to see that going on a... So I guess he is trying to actually prepare for a longer game. But WhiteRa really needs another base. His arbiters are going to be so late that IdrA is going to just hit something like 180 supply and go 1A, 2A, 3A, GG, get out WhiteRa.
Okay, we're going to see a drop over here, it looks like. Perhaps a storm drop.
Maybe a little
actually, Zealot, he's going to go for the bust, but that location at the north was the place he had to go to get that. He's going to target fire the command center. Command center on fire. Somebody going to fire extinguisher quick.
Sorry, the SCV's got fire extinguishers, and the tanks move down, and they're going to pummel these Dragoons. And unless these Zealots can drag a lot of mines, and no, they can't. It looks like WhiteRa is just losing any advantage he may have had. And wow, you know, IdrA, I got to tell you, if I was in this position as IdrA, I would feel invincible.
Well, you take a look at the food count here, the population count, almost even, about 10 difference.
Oh, man.
And, well, now it's getting even closer because he just lost a bunch of Dragoons. That was a serious blunder by WhiteRa. I don't think WhiteRa is sure on how to play this out after that initial, pummeling went down.
Yeah.
You know, he did drive IdrA back into space, but I think he wanted to actually kill him. He wanted to end the game right there. So really, at this moment, it's going to be really tough for WhiteRa. We do have the two forges coming up here. So if IdrA doesn't push pretty quickly, WhiteRa can do a little bit of catch up with upgrades. But at the same time, I don't know. It's not looking good for him.
Yeah, right now WhiteRa, his economy is just so low. He hasn't done that 4th base. IdrA has the 2 armory, as you see right there. He has his full tech going. He has so many siege tanks. Look at that, already +2 attack. That's huge on siege tanks. And he's just going to hit just sick macro bursts. He's already spent his money on upgrades, and he's just going to explode. And WhiteRa, what is he going to be able to do against this? Well, he finally has a high Templar, as we see there, but IdRA's going to have to mess up from here, man. That's going to be what it takes for WhiteRa to come back into this game.
Okay, we see a few more vultures whipping around here. IdRA's going to try to hunt them down. WhiteRa's going to try to hunt them down, take them out. Very nice player. He does pick off that probe. Taking out that probe really hurts WhiteRa. He needs to get that expansion up quickly. And, man, IdrA definitely playing catch-up here with these tanks. I think he's not going to attack, though, until he takes his 4th.
Yeah, that might be. And, he wants to wait for a little bit more supply here. He has a ton of tanks, but you also need a lot of vultures mixed in and a few Goliaths just for a healthy measure. And, it wouldn't be too bad an idea. Just take that 4th base and move out at the same time because WhiteRa is going to have to start playing defensively at that point.
He must have a plan to save a lot of gas because he's getting 3 Stargates.
Yeah.
That's going to be a lot of Arbiters. Now, if he can upgrade stasis in time and get 3 Arbiters out, and IdrA decides to push late, that could swing this game back into WhiteRa's favor.
You're completely right. The Arbiters are just so good on this map. As Terran tries to come over the bridges, he has to clump up a lot. That's where stasis is really powerful. And then, of course, the mains are so long that a good recall that can bring you back from any deficit.
He's edging forward over here. He wants to do everything possible to delay this 4th base. Once the 4th base is set up, IdrA has nothing left to do but try to kill WhiteRa.
Right, and WhiteRa rushing in now, trying to push IdrA back. Doesn't want him taking that 4th base, but IdrA, he is spread out really, really well. He may, in fact, get that command center if he moves over, though.
Yeah, he's going to have to go. He's going to go get that command center fast. He's, no, it looks like it is going to get away, unless I'm mistaken here. Storming these tanks, he's pushing IdrA back a little bit. This is going to give him enough time to get out those Arbiters.
Every time he pushes IdrA back, I feel like he's getting kind of the sour end of the deal. He's losing a lot of units. His 4th base not up yet, as we see, and you've got to stay 1 to 2 bases up on Terran, especially when Terran is upgrading as aggressively as IdrA is.
Okay, we do see the probe transfer. These probes have to make it over there safely. And again, I don't know if WhiteRa should be engaged in this moment. I only see Dragoons over here, and I think even if the shuttle does drop. Very nice
right there. Good size storm, but he loses so many Dragoons.
Well, at this point in time, once again, these guys killing each other off here. Hardly any units left. And he actually is going to clean up a few more of these tanks down here. And what WhiteRa's trying to do is just buy some time. He needs to get these Arbiters out.
Yeah, that's so true. You know, whatever units he can strike together, as long as he has the 3 Arbiters going around with them, they're going to be pretty fearsome. But, you know, IdrA, he's relentless. Look at that. He still has a lot of,
my God.
A lot of tanks still. He's actually up in supply at this point. 3-1 upgrades.
Unreal. Now, he may actually counterattack here.
3-1 versus 1-1, in fact. That's brutal, man.
Okay.
And we haven't seen any Arbiters.
We haven't seen any Arbiters unless they built and finished.
I don't think so.
Oh, they did.
Oh. Well, don't I look stupid.
You just lost face.
Yeah, I did.
Right now, we see the push moving towards WhiteRa's base. Suddenly, the tables have turned. IdrA is now the aggressor. Did he get stasis in time? There's no way for us to know until we see blue crystals or a dead WhiteRa.
That's about it.
One of the two.
One of the two. Well, you know, WhiteRa right now is going to have to do a really scrappy defense here because IdrA has a superior army because of his upgrades, really, and more units, of course. So WhiteRa, he's going to have to run around with these stations.
Oh, my God. Ouch.
That's painful right there. I mean, he has a ton of probes down here. And it looks like WhiteRa is trying to move around, get something done with these small amount of units.
He's going to try to trade bases here. He's going to do a counter down here, try to take out the mineral natural. I don't know if he's going to try to edge up to the gas expansion here. We'll see. He does use that stasis, but I question how useful the stasis is actually going to be in the long run.
Yeah, it's hard to say, man. It looks like WhiteRa will be able to bust up this base, but no, IdrA is bringing units back as well.
He's going to make a WhiteRa sandwich in a minute here. He's coming in from both sides here.
A nice stasis. Oh, a ton of siege tanks coming back home. And it looks like IdrA is going to successfully defend his bases, and I think we're going to have to see a GG from WhiteRa coming up pretty quickly here.
Yeah, because he didn't really take out this expansion. WhiteRa is going to send more units down this way. I don't know if it's a good idea, though.
How many units does IdrA have, though? Not that many. He is getting low in supply. If WhiteRa can get some cost-effective kills here, maybe some good mind drag, maybe he can come back.
Okay, he's going to try to move into the main. Remember, WhiteRa's down on a base, so this is pretty much one of his last chances, if not his last chance.
Nice pull away with those zealots. That's important. He needs to preserve every unit he can. But ooh, he's down to just one mining base at this point, and just the upgrades on IdrA are outstanding.
Well, we do see he's dragging these zealots into the back. He's trying to buy time, get his opponent to do something. But, man, pretty soon WhiteRa's going to be broke. These probes taking a group nap. Hardly any minerals left. You can see WhiteRa's thoughts are racing. He is not sure exactly how to handle the situation. He's going to try double expo both these nexuses. Remember, just take a look at the minerals there on WhiteRa's counting station over here at the bottom right. He actually is not getting resources very quickly at all.
No, he's not. You know, 183 minerals and 88 supply against IdrA, 2 base and 130. Looks like Pung mode is coming.
Yeah.
Who needs siege?
That's right. He's just going to steamroll him, I think. And can WhiteRa win this? IdrA, no. See what I just did there?
Wow,
I just
took me a
made it
minute.
funny. Yeah.
I just looked at you.
I just did
begging
that.
for help there. What do I do here, Tasus?
What we need is candid laughter, actually. You know, that's what we need. Every time I say a bad joke, we just hit this keyboard, some laughs come up. Okay, we do see more vultures now. Taking out these probes. Again, this is just another blow here for WhiteRa. WhiteRa is rocked at this point in time. He could be KO'd any second now.
You know, as soon as he sees IdrA's army, he's going to it. You know, even with 3 stasis and 2 or 3 side storms on that High Templar, he's not going to be able to hold up to what IdrA has. IdrA has those 2 bases. He can just hold here and end up winning.
This is going to be the most significant moment right here. If WhiteRa could somehow manage to hold this off by some miracle, the game will go on, but it's going to be really tough. IdrA is spacing his units out, which is really smart because stasis is pretty much the only thing that can beat him. One stasis! Let's see here. Another stasis! And
whoa. A lot of tanks behind, though. I don't think White Rock quite knows that yet. He will in a moment when all his dragons disintegrate.
If he has one more stasis, he can clean up or freeze those tanks in the back. No, he's gonna have to. He's gonna have to retreat.
Even if he freezes everything, guess what? Eventually, those unfreeze.
That's true. It's got to be boring stasis.
Maybe go over and just use the horrible attack of the Arbiter, try to take down some tanks.
Well, those things will die by tomorrow.
Sometime tomorrow.
Okay, he's gonna edge forward. He wants to keep all these units alive for when they unstasis.
Oh, and I scans, brings up some reinforcements, and White Raw is going to have to admit defeat here.
Okay, I think it's going to be it. These Arbiters might not even get out of here in time. And you can see White Raw, I think he knows this should be over. He's going to take out, IdrA will take out this expansion over here. White Raw, of course, still does have the top right, but remember, a lot of probes to kill there. You can see there's just about one probe for each mineral patch. That's certainly not enough.
Circling it up, man. But you got to hand it to White Raw. He's a very scrappy player. We've seen some really scrappy games from him against Strelok in countless tournaments for Ukraine. And being quite scrappy here as well. You know, most people would have given up by now.
He's so scrappy, Scooby-Doo would be proud, man.
Yeah, man.
This has actually been an awesome game, though, to watch. Let's see if IdrA can just finish him off here. Okay, he is getting poor, man.
Probably can. Yes.
Okay, more tanks moving up. And I think this is going to be it. Expect GG. White Raw knows it. He's not going to make it out of this group.
Yeah.
IdrA and Advocat move on from that group. GG.
Tell you, he really did a nice strategy. I think he just pulled the trigger too early, Tasis. You know, he ran in before all of IdrA's tanks were out in the third base area. And that's really what caused loss right there, as far as I can tell.
I think you're right.
If he had just waited a little bit more, not been so quick to run in, he would have had another round or two of Zealots. IdrA would have been more exposed, and the attack would have done a lot better. But, you know, it's little mistakes like that. That's why this is the greatest game on earth. One little mistake, and you get rolled.
The most manly game ever made. StarCraft.
It really is.
It'll put
punching each other in the face.
That's right, man. It is a manly game. It'll put some hair on your chest. IdrA, Gregory Fields, your winner here. We are not done, though.
No, we are not done by any means. The next matchup, very important as well. PJ against Bisu, they have both already advanced, but the loser of this matchup is going to play against Stork, I believe it is.
Oh, really?
In the first round of the top 8.
So this is a pivotal game here. 2 Koreans eliminate each other. We might not have 3 Koreans in the top 3.
That's right.
We might not even have 2 Koreans in the top 3.
Yeah, we might not even have one if wait.
No. That would never happen. Okay. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.